Oh, that didn't help. There we go.
Okay. So were you guys able to kind of go over the L09 Relevance at all? Or the, I guess, the foundation in ratings with the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But I can open up the chapter right now and kind of overview it.
Okay. Yeah, because for our group discussion this week, we're supposed to go over the trans theoretical stages of change model.
Right.
And summarize how the models work. So I don't know if we want to, I don't know. I think it would take a while to go through each slide. That would take kind of a long time.
Well, there's a little, in the relevance section, there's an infographic that has,
oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if everybody
different
wants to open that, because that kind of shows it pretty well, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so the 5 stages were pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. And then, as it says below, self-efficacy is the individual's power to progress.
So how I understood it, like the pre-contemplation phase is just like people aren't really ready to change. They're not even really thinking about it. If you would approach them at that time, they would kind of be
not fully invested.
Yeah, well, and they would totally just be like, no, like just kind of reject your opinion and just kind of get defensive is the word they used in the lesson. And then contemplation is when they're like, maybe have the intention to do it. Maybe they've told, like they can appreciate that there's positives about it. And they're thinking like, oh, maybe I should do that. That's something that would be healthy for me. But they're not necessarily
going to act today.
Yeah.
I think you could relate like all of the steps to that scenario about Jane and her car. Like the pre-contemplation would be like when her car wasn't broke down at all. Like she wasn't even thinking about it. She wasn't even thinking about buying a new car. And then she slowly moved into the steps because her car broke down, and then she was going to go get it fixed.
Yeah.
Something came up, and then she saw the ad, and then action, she went and bought the car. So I think that was a really good scenario just to explain it all, because it kind of doesn't make sense when you're reading it.
Yeah. When I first read that, I was like, oh,
what is happening in this story?
Yeah, that one really helped. That scenario really helped me because it's like, okay, like you go through decisions like that in your life all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it happens just kind of naturally, right? Kind of.
Yeah. Not as abundant as it was in Jane's scenario.
Yeah, and that's what they talked about too with this model, is that changes don't happen at just one moment. It takes time.
Well, and I think what really you kind of learn with this model is that people need an opportunity to think about it. You know what I mean? Like, the first time you give somebody some information about it or something like that, they're going to be immediately resistant. Like, even I was just telling Tiffany, I just interviewed for an internship, and they were talking about how when they first initiated this employee, like fitness, not really a fitness program, but like a wellness program is what it's called. They said that everybody was kind of like, oh, I don't want to do that, you know? But then as they thought about it and kind of saw the benefits, because they get a discount on their health insurance and they get all these benefits at work and stuff. And so people have kind of come around, and now they have like 95% of the people who work there are doing the wellness program. for the benefits of it. So
The place that I work at, you get $25 off a month on your health insurance if you don't smoke, which I mean, that one's not hard for us. But
yeah,
it's gotten a lot of people at my work to stop smoking. I mean, $25 almost pays for your whole insurance a month. I only have to pay $4 out of pocket for my insurance.
Aiden, get away from him. Aiden, get away from him.
So
Sorry.
it's just like, it's those wellness
Close the door,
programs
Mia.
are
We saw
really,
the cat.
like, the small steps, they make, like, a huge impact on the employees.
yeah,
Just because,
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, $25 a month is, like, almost $700 a year. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
to stop smoking. And I bet they would save, like, a ton of money.
plus whatever they save,
Well,
not smoking.
Yeah. That's where I think contemplation comes into, like it says, becoming aware of the pros and cons.
yeah. I think this module has a lot to do with the health belief module, too, because it's a lot to do with behavior. And it has a lot to do with, like, if the person's willing to change, just like the health belief model was.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to know that it's going to benefit them in some type of way, or else they're obviously going to have no motivation or desire to make those changes in their life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Jane probably wouldn't have gotten a new car if hers wouldn't have broken down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then I think maybe some of the interventions that you would use for this model would definitely be like health communication, as far as just like mass media, just kind of getting information so that people will think about it, you know. I think that's what a lot of, even though they talked about mammograms and stuff in the last model, I think that would be something like here, all over where I live, they have a lot of, right now the big thing is like, get your colonoscopy, you know what I mean? So there's like a ton of billboards, and it's just kind of putting the thought in people's head, like, oh yeah, I am over that age, I should probably think about that, you know. Anyway, that was one.
I think the biggest push in this model. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kylie.
Oh, I was done. I was just going to say that was one intervention that I was thinking of. When.
Anyways, I was saying I think the biggest push in this model. Oh, okay. I think like the biggest push in this model is moving from the pre-contemplation to the contemplation, because it's like that's like the biggest move in this, because once you get to the contemplation, then it kind of like goes with itself like a domino effect, if that makes sense. So I think like the biggest part that as health educators, like we need to really focus on the pre-contemplation to the contemplation stages.
I think too, even between the preparation and action phase, you know, when they're with the preparation phase is when they're ready, they might be taking gradual steps. They might have talked to their parents or their family members about like, oh, I want to eat healthy, or oh, I want to exercise, but they haven't actually done it yet. So, or they've only taken minor, like little steps. And I think if you could provide a way for them to do the action and make it easy, you know, like if there was some, I don't know, some sort of community, like, I don't know. Anyway, some event that they could participate in that would kind of give them that little extra, like, just do it, you know, just do the thing. I think that could be.
I think with like the colonoscopy story, like you could have like an event saying this is like the percentage of people that have colon cancer, and most of the insurances will pay for a routine colonoscopy. And I think a lot of people don't know that, because they always think about healthcare being expensive, but it's like your insurance will cover, I think it's a year you can get one, or it's like every couple of years you can get one and your insurance will cover it.
Yeah.
That happens a lot, because where I work at, there's outpatient colonoscopies, and it happens because they're like, well, I don't want to pay for it, and it's like, no, it's fine, it's covered by your insurance, especially a lot of the Medicares, because you get older and so.
Yeah, it doesn't have to relate to the colonoscopy thing, but I think a hard thing too for people is that sometimes it's hard for them to commit to things because they've had past experiences. It talked about this in the model as well. Like they've had past experiences where they maybe necessarily didn't succeed in their goal, and so they might have a fear, might just be holding back from wanting to recommit to doing whatever it may be, whether it's eating healthy or exercising or whatever. So I think
Or they
that's
won't
a
take
big
that
thing
extra
too as
step
well.
unless there's a risk factor.
Yeah.
Too. There's that too. They won't commit until they realize that there's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that also has to do with self-efficacy too. Helping people develop that and understanding, or just believing in themselves. Helping them realize that they do have the ability to make the change.
Another intervention that I was looking at that could help kind of move people through this process would be either the health-related community service strategy or the community mobilization strategy, because both of them actually aim to reduce barriers. So whatever the barrier is that's preventing people, whether it's like not having access or, not having safe places for people to exercise, those strategy or interventions kind of address the. And so I think, which phase was it? Oh, it was in the action and maintenance phase. It needs to kind of become not easy for them to continue to do the behavior, but not have a bunch of barriers in their way to continue on.
Yeah.
I had one question that I was going to ask you guys in the reading, or if you guys have completed it, but it said that the TTM doesn't work really well with adolescents. Why do you think that is? Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
With
What was your question?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit in the. Right
Oh,
there.
sorry. So in the reading, it says that the model doesn't really work with adolescents and children. Why do you guys think that?
Probably because they haven't developed like their own decision-making process yet. Right? I mean, kids are like impulsive and rebellious and they kind of just go with the flow, right? So
Yeah,
that model,
well, in my experience as a mom, I can tell you that even when they do something naughty, or like, kids don't think things through really. So I feel like this model is very much thought related. Like, you really have to, there's the pre-contemplation, and then you're thinking about it, you're thinking about making the change and stuff like that. And younger kids don't really do that. Like, they don't think, oh, I should be healthier. You know what I mean? They're not really concerned about that. I think it has something to do with the health belief model, as well as when it talked about how really young people and really old people, it's not going to work because they don't care. And I don't know if it's not that they don't care, but it's just like they don't really have the mental processing to do it on their own.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that would be one of the reasons.
okay, so I wrote down some of the, I kind of listed this down, and I just wrote down some interventions and just some notes here. So the pre-contemplation stage, the not ready stage, misinformation or just not knowing about, let's just say like it's mammograms or whatever, not knowing about it would cause someone to be in that stage. So an intervention to move them from the pre-contemplation to the contemplation stage could be like seeing a flyer about mammograms, the importance of it, or seeing something on social media or some kind of campaign like that, like a billboard like they were mentioning earlier. So that would be like within health communications. And then to move from the contemplation of getting ready to the actual preparation of being ready, they could take like surveys and questionnaires so that they can realize, maybe I'm thinking about getting a mammogram. I think it's important now based on this information that I've seen and learned. I think it would be good for me to do that in the near future. And then so within the ready phase, they would actually call and set up the appointment, and some interventions to move them from the getting ready to actually getting the mammogram. So setting up the appointments, there could be like certain booths at health fairs that will make your appointment for you or encourage you to set up an appointment right then and there. And that intervention can move them down to the action step where they actually get the mammogram. And then some interventions to get them from the action to the maintenance step. And the maintenance is just would be like reoccurring follow-ups, you know, making sure that you follow up with that. I've seen some interventions where clinics offer rides to patients. They offer like reminders in the mail. You'll get like a dentist, a postcard every year on the same time to say, hey, just a reminder to schedule your appointment. And we offer rides now. We offer Ubers and stuff like that. So those are some interventions that I thought of for those steps. And that's it.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I think that was the last step on the discussion was what kind of interventions centered on the processes move people through the stages.
Yeah, that's a really good example that you gave.
So that was, I had just looked at number 3 right now. That's why I went down in order like that to move people through the stages.
Okay, and then there's part 2. So we need to choose one of these scenarios and discuss how we can apply this model to change the behavior.
So I'll go ahead and, I don't know, I can read both and then.
I think we should do the first one.
Yeah, it kind of is easier. I'll read it. Scenario 1, you're a health educator on the BYUI campus working with a group of young men who are spending in excess of 16 to 20 hours per week playing violent video games. These young men are struggling academically at school. Upon initial interview with these young men, none of them feel they have a problem and are happy with the amount of time they spend gaming. All right. So choose this and discuss how you can apply.
So one intervention to get them from the not ready stage, the pre-contemplation, like one of the main reasons that I read that they're in that stage in the first place is because they just don't know what's going on, like the lack of information. So if an intervention were to post like visual boards all over campus that have statistics and like facts that those violent video games can negatively impact your grades and your mental health, that would help them start to gather some information for themselves to move them through the second phase, which would be getting ready, which would mean that they're thinking of just cutting down their video game time.
Well, and obviously they're already in, well, they are in pre-contemplation because they were already like,
They didn't have a problem.
Yeah. They don't feel they have a problem, the amount of time. And I think even that initial interview is going to put in their head like, oh, I don't know, maybe there's something there, you know, if they're struggling academically, that should be a red flag anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like what you said, Felicia, about even just, you know, having something in their face like, oh, are you playing video games? Or even it wouldn't even have to be totally directed at video games, but just really anything that's kind of a time sponge, right? Just anything that's wasting your time.
Yeah, so like something just to prove to them that their grades are directly impacted, like not just like I'm saying that this is bad for you. It's like they're facts and statistics, and you can't really argue with that.
Right.
That has to go under the consciousness raising, one of the steps from moving to pre-contemplation to contemplation.
Yeah.
Helping them learn the facts of, what might happen to these kids if they are spending this much time playing video games, helping them be aware of what could possibly happen.
I think showing them too, like how much time they're wasting and where they can put that
other things, yeah, that they could do with their time.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right.
Sorry, I had a call coming in. I didn't even see it. I was asking if you guys had ideas of how we would get them from thinking about cutting out the violent video games to actually cutting them out.
I think one thing that we could do, and this would fall under an environmental change strategy, would be to offer maybe study groups, or, I mean, I'm sure they do is the thing. But maybe have it, I don't know if there's a way to like target gamer, or maybe the school could offer an incentive, like if you get this, you know, if you get some sort of academic, thank you, if you meet some sort of academic qualification, then maybe you can get discount tickets to some
kind of cosplay.
Yeah.
Comic-Con tickets.
Thing. Yeah. Nerds love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and if, for example, like if they're not getting good grades, they're not getting passing grades, maybe, I don't know, even have consequences, like they have to stay at school longer for study groups, or
maybe they can offer a second chance to turn in an assignment.
Yeah, at BYU Idaho, I mean, you get in trouble academically, you get put on academic probation, and you can't register, like, you get kicked out of school for that kind of stuff. But I guess if they don't work 16 to 20 hours a week, that's a lot of video game playing. So.
Yeah. That's like coming home right after school and playing.
Yeah.
How many hours?
Yeah, I think offering some sort of incentive for academics, because I mean, it doesn't directly address how much time you're spending, but if you're focusing more on studying, you're gonna naturally play less video games, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't want to get too extreme and be like, have, monitor it or anything like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're still adults and they have agency. You take their agency away.
Yeah.
But I think offering some sort of incentive would be a good option.
Yeah, I think so.
So once they've made the choice and they stopped playing those violent video games all day or whatever, what would be an intervention that we could come up with to maintain that behavior? I was thinking like giving them like surveys and asking them questions like, how much extra time have you had for your family since you've stopped playing these video games? Have your grades improved since you've stopped playing these video games? And like they can evaluate the answers themselves and realize that'll help them come to like their own conclusions about their actions and the rewards for that. Yeah.
Well, and that kind of goes along with the behavior modification intervention, right? Because it's similar to journal keeping, because you're giving them an opportunity to kind of self-evaluate, see where they're at, and kind of even educate them on like, oh, maybe they didn't even realize, like, oh, I've been playing, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't have this for my family, or maybe the school could offer, like, I know that the prophet just announced in that last little youth message he had for the youth to do a 7-day social media fast. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah.
Anyway, a ton of the kids in our ward did it, and I wonder if the president of BYU Idaho could offer some sort of challenge like that, to not do video games or not do this or that, too, and just. And then when you follow up with the surveys, you could say, what did you notice? What did you have more time for? Did you do better on your assignments? Did you feel less stress in your life because you weren't so cramped for time?
When I lived at BYU Idaho, I lived on campus, and there were no visitors past midnight, and then they would send us surveys like that. Does it affect your studying? Do you sleep better because people leave by midnight? And then just several other questions. And I like the rule just because it's like midnight's pretty late.
Yeah.
And
Gives you a cutoff to be like, hey, you guys need to go.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, yeah, BYU Idaho is crazy, but it was nice having like a set time so that you knew that if it was loud, it would get quiet by midnight, if that made sense.
Yeah.
And it actually did like it affect a lot of like sleeping and studying and stuff just because. And then like boys weren't allowed in our apartment alone, which was really nice because you never really had to worry about like roommates and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think like those rules are set in place because of like past experiences, and then also because it really does affect school and your sleep and everything else with those rules in place.
Yeah, we had those rules when I went to BYU Hawaii too, but I don't think we ever got. But I agree, they do help a lot.
Well, and in the end parts, it says even on that little infographic that like between preparation, action, and maintenance, you need to provide messages about the cons of continuing an undesired behavior, or kind of going back to it, right? So maybe that's even where some health communication would come in, like, don't step backwards into old habits that cause stress. Nobody likes to be stressed, so I think if you kind of hint on it causes more stress if you waste a lot of time, so don't go back to that. But. Then I just think continuing to provide incentives is always good. I mean, I know you can get scholarships, but even something like you can get a discount in the cafeteria, just something silly. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that makes a big difference too. Because it's kind of crazy what the behavior of change will be.
And it doesn't have to be big. Like,
no, yeah.
People are like, oh, I can get a free pen? Cool, I'll do it.
Honestly, people will do whatever it takes to get free things.
Get something for free, yeah.
And if it affects their life in a positive way, then why not?
Yeah.
It's like this week, Walmart had like this incentive that if you signed up for their online pickup grocery, you could get a cooler. Walmart was packed, and it's like it's crazy the amount of people that want to go get like a cooler this big.
Yeah, it's like a lunch cooler.
Yeah, but I mean, it works for the public. So.
Yeah, almost kind of like a Black Friday thing.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, should we decide who will be the leader for next week?
Is there anyone that hasn't taken a turn yet?
I can do it. I haven't taken a turn.
Okay.
And then we're meeting. Does Saturday at 9 work for everyone, or do you guys want to do it during the week next week? I mean, what works best for everyone?
That's fine.
I'm fine either way. I will be. I'm traveling this weekend, but I mean, I can be available. Just whatever you guys decide. I'll be home. I'm leaving Thursday, and I'll be home Sunday. But I'll be available on Saturday if we want to do it Saturday. I'm totally fine with that.
Would it be easier for you if we did it not on the weekend?
I'm happy either way. I mean, it probably would be easier. I wouldn't have to worry about it, but I don't want to stress anybody out. And if everybody's happy doing it Saturday, I'm happy with that. So, or I
can do Monday or Wednesday if you guys just want to do Monday again.
Yeah, that works for me. And then, does your other group always meet on Mondays, Brooklyn, or?
Yeah, but I have a meeting every night with the group except for Wednesdays.
Okay.
So, and Saturdays, but I can make it work. Whatever time works for Felicia. What time works for you? Because I think you're the only one on Pacific.
I get off at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So 6 p.m. Mountain time is right at 5, and I'm literally just clocking out at that time. So 7 p.m. Pacific. No, 7 p.m. Mountain time would be 6 p.m. And like, yeah, that would work a lot better. That gives me time to come home or stop at the store after work before I come home.
So does that work for you with your Brooklyn? You have the other group. What time does it usually start?
7:30.
7:30.
Yeah,
Well,
but
what if we do Wednesday at 7?
No, it's okay. We can just do Monday because it's easier to do it Monday, and then we have all week to do the relevance or the application assignment. So I can push that other group back a half an hour, which is fine. So we can do 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Monday, which would make mine 6 p.m.
Yeah. 6 for you.
Okay, thank you.
Would that work, Felicia?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Works for me.
Okay.
So next Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks,
So
ladies.
with this, so I just stopped recording and then I don't remember how to.
So you'll have to, it's going to automatically like download into your, unless you had it set to download to the cloud. It's going to go onto your computer. Is that what you said? Sorry.
Yeah.
So now you'll have to go into YouTube and upload it to YouTube.
Did yours take forever, Kylie?
It took like 20 minutes. It didn't take.
That's nice.
But I like left my computer and like went and did something else because it was taking forever. But yeah, you'll have to upload it to YouTube. It has to like download to your computer and then you have to upload it to YouTube and then you send him the YouTube link.
So is it like a requirement for each of us to take turns doing it?
It looks, I mean, it just says we just need a different leader every week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Tiffany,
Okay.
you have to put it in a Word document with all of our names in it. He won't accept just the link.
Yeah.
So you have to put like a Word document and then all of our names and then the link and then submit the Word document.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Okay. Sounds
If you
good.
have any issues with it, Tiffany, I can
Yeah, just let me know and I can try and help you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'll let you guys know.
That's good.
I mean, it sounds pretty simple, but
Yeah. And it just takes a while. So if it's taking a while, it's not your computer or anything. It just takes forever.
okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Bye,
See you guys.
ladies.
Bye.